Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday and welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts. And today, we're coming at you live from our studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. We have an amazing show for you today. It's Forest Friday, so we have our main man Forest joining us. We're going to look at some Bitcoin chart. We're going to look at Filecoin's been mooning. Take a look at some of those levels. Matic. We'll take a look at a lot of things. We're also going to discuss Binance reportedly not going to be listing any U.S.-based projects. CZ refuted that report on Twitter, but who's lying here? We're going to unravel that. Also, Do Kwon being sued by the SEC. Another too little, too late scenario. We'll talk about how that's going to play out. And we got so much more to talk about. But first, I'd like to introduce you to your other co-host, Robin.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the old, boring, and stale information and package it up in a fun and sexy way. Also, Bitcoin's moving. Bitcoin's driving. Bitcoin's jumping. 24,000. We've been in this interesting zone. Up to 25, down to 23. But we are above 21 where we were earlier this week. So
wow, it's a lot of numbers.
That's right. Now, what else? That's all I got.
Now we got to kick off the show with some giggles, maybe some cries. So let's start with some giggles. So here's a video from on Twitter. It's from Crypto Memes. So this is Whales versus Panic Sellers. So here we go. All right. Whale versus Panic Sellers. So here we go. Let's see if we can relate to it. Can we relate to it? The whale's hodling, panic seller, right? Sell. Up. That's messed up, bro. You ever mess with your kids like that?
Yes.
It's so true though, right? As Bitcoin grows in age and maturity, all the panic sellers who dump their Bitcoin when it's down 5K or when it's down to 16K, it goes into the hands of the diamond hands and the whales and the people who truly understand. And at some point when these panic sellers try to re-enter the market, guess what? You ain't getting your Bitcoin back at 25K. You're going to have to pay 100K, 150K, 250K. Ain't that right?
That's right.
Also,
what else?
It's Bitcoin. When it was at 25K in May, everyone's freaking out. We're in the cold wilderness. And now we're celebrating Bitcoin at 25K. You know, crypto take a mental toll on you, Robin?
Not at all. It is a mental hype. It's the juice, baby. It's like Bitcoin's like a crazy girlfriend. You know, you love
What's
her.
that like? I've never had one.
You love her, but at the same time, it's a rocky road. You know, there's mood swings.
What are your thoughts on Rocky
ups
Road?
and downs?
Do you like Rocky Road ice cream?
I'm not a fan.
I like Rocky Road.
I like ice cream.
You seem like a vanilla bean kind of guy.
I do love me some vanilla bean. The Madagascar vanilla bean it's good stuff there, bro.
Also a very good children's movie as well.
Here's the thing. If the base ice cream is good, you don't need to add almonds and chocolate and brownie and marshmallow. Like, you don't need all that.
Why
You
not?
know what? Why don't you just start with a good product? And if you got to add a million different things to it, saying, bro.
Okay. So, our friend Charlie Munger, right? He came out and said that Bitcoin's worthless, rat poison. And more recently, he said anyone investing in Bitcoin is an idiot. So he was asked to explain himself, and this was Mr. Munger's answer. So pretty interesting, and just listen to this.
That leads me to this question about crypto that Benjamin writes in. He says, in 2007 at the USC Law School, Charlie said, "I'm not entitled to have an opinion on this subject unless I can state the arguments against my position better than the people who are supporting it." The question is, does this also apply to your Wall Street Journal article on banning cryptocurrencies? And if yes, would you care to share the arguments against your position?
Yeah, share it with us, Charlie.
Well, I don't think there are good arguments against my position. I think the people that oppose my position are idiots. And so I don't think there is a rational argument against my position. This is an incredible thing. Naturally, people like to run gambling casinos where other people lose. And the people who invented this crypto crapo, which is my name for it, and sometimes I call it crypto crapo, and sometimes I call it, well, crypto shit.
Oh. Crypto shit.
It's just ridiculous that anybody would buy this stuff. And it isn't. You can think of hardly nothing on earth that has done more good to the human race than currency, national currencies. They were absolutely required to turn man from a goddamn successful ape into modern successful humans in human civilization. Because it enabled all these convenient exchanges. So if somebody says, I'm going to create something that sort of replaces the national currency, it's like saying I'm going to replace the national air. You know, it's asinine.
Don't worry, we're putting air on the blockchain, Charlie. You hang tight. So it's funny when he's asked to defend his position, right, and talk about the counter arguments. He thinks and thinks and thinks, and the cells in his brain are firing on all cylinders, whatever cylinders that are left. And his answer is, well, there is no good opposition, and whoever believes is against me is an idiot. If that, guys, doesn't tell you that this dude, his argument is rooted in absolutely nothing except ignorance, I don't know what is.
The chat is so hating, man. He's a little old, man.
Munger
Leave that
looks
man
into your
alone, man.
I do that in 2-second increments.
Guys, you are funny. We'll leave it at that. But be nice. He's an established businessman. He's a very successful entrepreneur, and he is wise in his field.
Yes,
which does not contain Bitcoin or crypto. So I'll leave it at that, man.
It does contain a lot of fiat currencies.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
And listen, he maybe was a very brilliant entrepreneur when he was in his 80s. Now that he's on the 200 years old range, maybe lost a little bit a bit.
The world's gotten the best of him, Charlie.
Yeah, he's made it pretty far. Leave it at that. All right, so a couple things, man. A couple things.
Take a permanent break. That's so bad. All right, go ahead, Robin.
So a couple things to take away. Now, one, he's saying that currency has been the driving motivator to bring people and civilization out of the Stone Age and from a caveman and upgrading them to essentially.
Bro, he called us all monkeys.
Yeah, he did. But it's that technology that it's the currency is what made man successful is what he's saying, and that was like the key driver to it. And he's right. But also, technology keeps evolving, and technology has taken us to the next level. And so, even though there was what has changed over the years, right? Think about it. What has changed? Their currency was around in the 1800s, but we didn't become a successful civilization because of currency. We became a successful civilization because of technology and how we integrated in our lives, and we kept open mind. And the civilizations that ignored it, civilizations and countries that chose not to embrace technology and what's new and innovative, they got left behind. And
can you argue then that? Can you make that case to where now the U.S. is going to be left behind with this new technology.
No, the U.S. has crypto. 60% of U.S. Is like 40 or 60%. I'm not exactly sure of the number, but have used crypto and or at least open to purchasing it. So if anything, we're extremely progressive. Now we can sit here and harp on, well, we don't have a Bitcoin ETF, and you can, if you live in America, you can download an exchange app and purchase crypto. You can buy Bitcoin, you can buy Ethereum, and thousands of other tokens. That is all at your power, and it is not illegal.
Or no.
It's not going to change, bro. Now, they might make it harder. They might cut out some of the competition, whatever. They might put regulation that favors certain parties that work with them versus against them. But at the end of the day, like this whole U.S. is we're falling behind. You know what? We are falling behind to other countries, but we are still very progressive. We are the leader of finance. We have the world reserve currency, and so we're on the right path. But here's the thing. So what I'm saying is that if you embrace technology, civilization proceeds. It evolves. And this does not just pertain to communication, going from radio to television, from rotary phone to cell phone to text messages to traditional mail to email. This also involves finance and the move of value. That also upgrades. In the past, you had to buy bonds or you had to go buy stocks with paper and pen. Did you get mad when all of a sudden you can go buy stocks online on the internet? No, you embraced it. It's technology. It's the same thing is happening. Fiat is getting upgraded. And if countries don't don't subscribe to it and countries don't embrace it, you know what? The private sector is going to keep growing without you. So you either get aboard or you get left behind.
Get aboard or get bored.
Mm-hmm.
We have Bored Ape news today as well, guys. Speaking of bored.
Is it the Bitcoin one?
Yeah.
It's not even Yuga Labs. You know that, right?
Shh.
Okay.
Speaking of bored, you're about to not be bored because we're bringing our guest on, Forrest. Forrest, what's up,
What's
my
up,
man?
guys?
How you doing, bro?
Hey, how's it going?
Been a long
Doing well,
time, man.
doing
We
well.
missed you. How you been?
I'm doing well. Can't complain. Market's
Amazing.
pumping, right? It's tough to
Pumping,
complain
baby.
when you pick this up.
I got a cell signal on Matic. Not a good one. That's why I'm wearing purple today. Forrest,
That is like lavender. What is that?
it's a faded Matic purple.
Polygon purple.
Polygon. Yeah, Robin. Thank you, Forrest.
A lavender sugar cookie.
You know, every day I got two against me here. It's happy to have one on my side. So we even the field today, even the playing field. All right. Before we get into the charts or anything, let's start with some news. So the first piece of news: Binance considers severing U.S. ties in face of crypto crackdown. This source from Bloomberg. Now, CZ has come out on Twitter and say this is false, but what reason would Bloomberg have to fabricate and lie versus what reason would CZ have to lie and say that these are false? What does one have to gain from the other, right? So this is sourced from CoinDesk, but the original article came out on Bloomberg. Binance Holdings is considering severing, here, let me zoom in, is considering severing its ties with U.S. business partners as various government agencies and regulators continue to investigate the company. Binance is also considering delisting tokens issued by U.S.-based projects, including Circle's USDC. Shortly after the report was published, CZ denied that the exchange was considering delisting tokens. He said, quote, "We pulled back on some potential investments or bids on bankrupt companies in the U.S. for now. Seek permission first," he said. So people are saying, does this mean that the Voyager deal might no longer be on the table? So, Forrest, I'm going to ask you first, who are you more prone to believe? Are you more prone to believe a news outlet that doesn't necessarily cover crypto? Or are you more prone to believe CZ, who's saying this is not true? Or maybe you know something we don't
Look,
know.
I think I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know for sure, but I'd be more inclined to believe CZ because lying about this, like coming out and saying that this is not happening if it is happening, that does more damage to his reputation. So he's kind of got more at stake here. He doesn't want to lie. That'll just be very bad overall for his reputation. It's unclear, but I don't know where the story came from. Like, obviously Bloomberg, but it's like, where are they getting their information here? It's kind of strange.
Well, CZ did confirm a couple things. He did confirm that they are pulling back on some potential investments and bids on bankrupt companies. So at the very least, okay, let's just say they're not going to delist. At the very least, they're not trying to dabble in investing in U.S. projects or U.S.-based ICOs or whatever the case may be. So what kind of effect do you think this will have, seeing that how many of these VCs went under, how many of them are pulling money away from the crypto industry? Is this going to harm new projects and development in our space?
Probably with regards to U.S. projects, and look, it makes a lot of sense. Like if I was, if I'm a VC or an investor, it's like, why would I take okay, a project is based in the U.S. That's a strike against it. That's if you're analyzing projects, you have two projects that you're potentially investing in. One's based in the U.S., one is based in the U.K. or some other area that is more crypto friendly than the U.S. All else equal, I'm going to invest in the one that's not in the U.S. And the reason being is because there's so much uncertainty about regulation. So to me, it makes complete sense why they're doing this. As far as the effect that it'll have, I mean, it's still up in the air at this point. But I think it just goes back to what we've been saying with regards to regulation. The argument against regulation is that it drives innovation offshore, and that's exactly what I think it's going to do. I honestly, I think it's almost a good thing. This is the result. Like if the U.S. is going to regulate, this is the result we want to see. We want to see like a clear path of innovation being driven offshore in the U.S. so that it becomes extraordinarily clear to the U.S. regulators that that's the consequence. If they could just regulate and then people stay in the U.S. and just try to deal with their regulations, that doesn't set the right precedent. So I'm not necessarily, against CZ doing some of these things, even though in the short term could be bad for the space. It's kind of like the FTX ordeal. Again, not even in the same realm of it's not fraud or anything like that, but it's like FTX at the end of the day was a cancer that needed to be excised. It needed to be removed from the space, and it was just a matter of the sooner it was done, the better for the space. It was extraordinarily painful, and the time it's still painful, but it needed to go. So if
Right.
No. Or has come back.
Did I get cut?
You got cut, buddy. Sorry.
I got cut. I think I actually
It wasn't me, it was Robin. It was Robin, bro. You said you're not his favorite TA person. It's him. I'm kidding.
No, I think I have a VPN on, but if I cut the VPN, it'll probably cut me from the entire stream. So that might have been what happened. But yeah, speaking of U.S. regulation and enforcement, I got to have the VPN on.
They're tracking us, bro. They're tracking us. So I think you made your point. You're saying it's a good thing. What's your take, Robin? And then speak about what this possibly might mean for Voyager. So FTX was supposed to buy him. Then Binance US put a bid in. They said might pull back on some of these the bankrupt offers they put in. Are Voyager investors about to get screwed again?
I hope not. But they did give a verbal agreement, or maybe it's on paper. I don't know, but they did commit.
No, the judge approved it.
Yeah, they did commit to the acquisition, and so I think what we're seeing right now is a reaction to the U.S. government, the SEC, basically going after the Binance stablecoin BUSD through Paxos, and we saw that CZ a couple days ago was saying, hey, we're not even, be careful because stablecoins are going to move to other currencies, not just the dollar. We're going to be using euro and the yen. And, I think that's just a man that's upset that his strongest asset, because I mean it's probably the strongest asset in their exchange is the BUSD.
Well,
right?
Rob, they were printing Binance Peg USD off of the backing of the actual BUSD. So
regardless,
they were printing
their bread and butter is BUSD. You can make an argument that it's more beneficial for their bottom line than BNB token is. And if it's the trading liquidity pair on their exchange, the default pair, they got rid of USDC, then it's crushing. It's a blow to their business model. And now, if they want to offer services and offer trading pairs, if they were to essentially go away from BUSD because government says, hey, the US government says no, and they decide to go away from that, they got to bring their competitors back on. They got to bring Circle and Tether back on, and that is a big loss for them. And so the dude's pissed off. And who's he pissed off at? He's pissed at the US. And it's like, remember that job where you get written up or you get yelled at and you're like, man, I'm going to quit this damn job, man. I hate this boss, man. And you don't go nowhere because you need it, right? And then you're just like, next thing you know, 2 weeks later, you completely forget about it. That's what we got here. Okay. The dude's mad. His BUSD is getting taken away from him. He's out here saying that stable coins are going to move to foreign currencies. They're not. And he's also saying, well, I'm not investing in US-based companies. Okay, sure. But at some point, you're going to come back to the titty. Right?
Come back to the what?
To the titty, man.
To the titty?
Yeah, it's a phrase. You know, like you need to survive. You need that milk, bro.
Okay.
You know, formula only get you so far.
Interesting choice of words.
It's a traditional phrase. You just never heard.
From where? No idea. Rocco, have you ever heard that phrase, Rocco?
Never been Virginia.
Never been in Virginia. They do things different in Virginia.
So I think in a month or two he'll push all that aside. He'll be back to investing in US based companies. Back to the titty. That's right.
Forrest, Rob and I had a pretty big argument 2 days ago. It was in regards to Paxos being told to stop minting BUSD and the SEC saying that it was an unregistered security. I'm in the camp of they're targeting stable coins. And if you're going out and labeling BUSD a security, what does that mean for the rest of the stablecoin industry? Rob's in the camp of they're just targeting Binance. Where do you land? What side of this argument are you on?
This one I'm split down the middle on. It's uncertain. I hate to be like the wishy-washy person. There's some things that make it seem like BUSD is, the issue and Paxos is the issue. But at the same time, like you look at Tether and to my understanding, they're offshore, and it's like, what's stopping? My big question here is what's stopping Binance, from just going to a new stablecoin issuer, maybe not Paxos, maybe somebody who's stationed in an island off the coast of Africa or an island in the Bahamas, and issuing a stablecoin that way. It's like if USDC can exist and USDT can exist, then some form of BUSD can be created. In my opinion, that whatever that skirts the whatever sanctions or laws the SEC is trying to go after Paxos for. So I don't necessarily think that BUSD is just going to go away and disappear. It has an absolutely massive market cap. To my knowledge, it's completely 100% backed as long as it hasn't been bridged to new chains, and I think that may have been the underlying issue here. Look, I think the SEC has an uphill battle. Will they go after USDT and USDC? I believe they're serving Wells notices to both of them for to Circle and to Tether potentially, as well as Coinbase. But it's like you got a really, really uphill battle ahead of you if you're going to go after the entire the stablecoin space. You look at what they've tried to do with XRP and how they have not gotten very far in a fairly long period of time. It's like, as an investor in the space, can they go after USDC and USDT? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But even if they do, it's like it's not. extraordinarily alarming. It's a big issue, but it just like I think these things take a really long time to unravel, and there's just always going to be a market for stable coins, and whoever it is that can create a stable coin and serve that stable coin in a way that skirts sanctions or skirts the SEC's proceedings, they're gonna find a way. I think this stablecoin market and the crypto market is more slithery and slippery when it comes to regulations than the SEC can actually enforce.
Speaking of the SEC, and this is the last thing we're going to cover before we jump into the charts. When I show this meme here, who do you think is that skeleton on the floor? So the guy with the stick is
the SEC logo.
The guy's the S. So the one poking the skeleton is the SEC. Hey, give us money. Who would you guess is that skeleton that's obviously, not living?
I feel like I should know this.
It's Do Kwon. It's Do Kwon. So
Do
the
Kwon.
SEC,
I see.
SEC is filed a lawsuit against Do Kwon and Terra Luna. Their complaint against Terraform Labs and Do Kwon alleges that Luna and UST are securities. What I'm saying, another stable coin they labeled a security. In a novel theory, the SEC not only characterizes UST as an investment contract, but as a security because it could be exchanged for another security, Luna, the burning and minting. Under this theory, nearly anything can be a security. And this leads to this article from Crypto Slate. Do Kwon allegedly cashed out $100 million worth of Bitcoin via a Swiss bank. The SEC alleged that Terraform Labs and its founder, Do Kwon, transferred over 10,000 Bitcoin to a cold wallet and cashed out about 100 million via a Swiss bank. This is a direct quote from the filing. On a periodic basis since May 2022, Terraform and Kwon have transferred and continue to transfer Bitcoin from this wallet to a financial institution based in Switzerland and have converted the Bitcoin to cash. Now, May is when Terra collapsed. And so it sounds like prior to and during, they were transferring all this money to cold wallets. And then finally, this is a direct little clip from the SEC filing. In May 2021, UST dropped below $1. In response, defendants, aka Terraform Labs, secretly discussed with a third party that the third party would purchase massive amounts of UST to restore the $1 peg. As UST returned to $1, Kwon and Terraform publicly and repeatedly touted the restoration of the $1 peg as a triumph of decentralization and the, quote, automatically self-healing UST Luna algorithm over the decision-making of human agents in time of market volatility, misleadingly omitting the actual reason why the peg was restored, which was a third party's intervention to prop up the UST price. So, what's your thoughts on this whole situation? I'll start with you first, Robin.
Well, Marion, here's the thing. It was a flawed Terra Luna, and that whole algorithm was flawed from the beginning. And I know we've talked about it before. If third-party agents didn't try to manipulate the price and crash it and try to blow it up, it was going to happen anyways. And here is some evidence that it happened in the past. And they injected capital to stop it from doing it. So the base function, which is the algorithm that is supposed to arbitrage naturally through decentralization, was a facade. It wasn't actually real, and it was destined to blow up anyways. And you know what? I mean, the SEC kind of is making a valid point. If this would have been public knowledge, perhaps we wouldn't have been sounding this horn on how great Terra Luna was in the beginning. Now, I don't believe everything's deemed a security, but, a little transparency would have been nice. And I think that's what, and at the end of the day, this is what started the whole bear market, right? And also people's confidence in Terra Luna. Maybe the confidence wouldn't have been as high if this would have been public knowledge from the get-go. Maybe Three Arrows Capital wouldn't have dumped so much money into Terra Luna. Perhaps Celsius wouldn't have leveraged their whole business model into Terra Luna if they would have understood what was actually happening behind the scenes, and that this was not a decentralization arbitrage that was happening as advertised. Now, with that said, Do Kwon sucks. And he hasn't been held accountable for crap until now, right? I mean, on social media, yeah. But it's been a while, man. It's almost a year. Almost a year ago that we had this Terra Luna collapse. And, you know, finally is some kind of accountability. So,
Forrest, what are your thoughts, Forrest?
The SEC's backtracking here because they dropped the ball completely. They're posturing. They're not going to see a dime from Do Kwon if Do Kwon has any reasonable level of intellect at all. If he's smarter than Sam Bankman-Fried, I think it was either him or this 3 AC guys that are like hanging out in some country with non-extradition laws. He's probably in Siberia or somewhere. I don't know where he's at, if that location is even known. But if he has any degree of intellect whatsoever, he's just going to keep his mouth shut, lay low, go to a country that has no extradition, and live off his $100 million happily ever after. I don't think the SEC is going to see a dime here, and I don't think they're going to be able to get him to come in. Like, there's just absolutely no reason. Do I think he's guilty? Yeah, I think he's extraordinarily guilty of fraud. I think the token model was flawed, and I think it became apparent. Once it became apparent it was flawed, he accelerated the process of extracting money for personal gain, and he should be held accountable for that. But at the end of the day, this is the SEC saying, "Oh, you're in trouble. You're in trouble, Do Kwon." But it's like the guy's probably on the other side of the ocean somewhere, far out of reach from.
Forrest, the chat agrees with you because 68% of them don't believe the SEC is going to get any money. Speaking of the chat,
yeah, what are you guys doing?
What are you doing?
Why haven't you hit the like button? I got a public service announcement to the chat here. First of all, why are we only 1/3 of the chat people here hit the like button? Ask yourself a question. Look inward and say to yourself, did I hit that like button? Because if you did not, help us out. It is Friday. We want to end this show with a bang. We want to get a bunch of people in here. With that said, we are going to open the club at 200 and was it 75 people?
300.
300
We
people?
lowered it yesterday for Jimmy.
Okay. We're at 150 viewers, man. We need to get this thing crunked up. Guys, if you think Do Kwon is accountable for everything, and he is the reason that we are in the bear market, put a 1 in the chat. You think he was just a pawn? Put a 2 in the chat. I want to know. You guys blame everything to Do Kwon? Because I know David has said that before. You still blame Do Kwon for everything?
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 in the chat if Do Kwon is the cause of the bear market. Put a 2 in the chat if he's just another piece of the puzzle.
It's what's intriguing to me about this entire thing is how they're trying to how the SEC is making their point that UST was an investment contract because of the burn mint mechanism. I think that's an issue. I think that's going to be an issue moving forward. I feel like it's so obvious, right? Gary Gensler, he's not an idiot, okay? The guy is not dumb. He taught a freaking blockchain course at MIT. He didn't get to where he is by being stupid, okay? Ignorant, maybe, right? But it's just like grabbing whatever he can and bringing it under his SEC umbrella. And I don't know what the infatuation is. Like, you made, how much was it, Robin? $6 billion?
$6.4 billion.
$6.4 billion, bro. How much more do you want?
In fines.
What
in the
do you
fiscal
want?
year last year.
I feel like he wants to go down as a martyr of someone who saved America from cryptocurrency when in fact he's going to do the complete opposite.
That's right. I do want to give a little love to the chat, though. We got a few new people here. So if you're new, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. We got Association Day, a bunch of other words in another language. We got Jay Manlet. We got Party Farm Through the Wire. Pong Mim. That Jut. Fire Up. Bradley Boyko. 88 Metal Mania. And Frank the Tank and Bit Green Sun. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
You don't want to give that first name a try again?
Dude, that's a long name, bro.
Asociata de Proprietaria Baba Novak Residence. I'm very
job.
cultured. I'm
Good
very
job.
cultured. All right, let's get into some charts. But first, Forrest, I got to ask you, bro. The mother of all bullish signals has shown for only the 4th time in the history of BTC. What is this, mother?
Mama?
It is the, what is it called again?
The
Kidding.
city?
It is the DCA breakout. So as Bitcoin price indicator has flashed green for just the 4th time ever this week, the dollar cost average indicator was now suggesting a raging bull market. And according to this here, DCA indicator, historically it has flashed only thrice in Bitcoin's existence, and each occurrence led to massive rallies of 7,400% in 2015, 160% in 2019, and 640% in 2020. And this is what they're talking about, right? This $1 DCA, when it breaks above, price rallies. So this is the last couple times. This was back in 2019, and this was back in 2015. So Forrest,
Hold on. What is this? What is it? DCA meter?
don't
What
worry
is
about
this?
it, bro.
What-
Don't worry about it.
What does it
It's
mean?
the mother of all indicators. Forrest knows. Forrest knows. Forrest, will you teach Robin? Because I really don't know either.
Yeah. So I looked at the tweet, guys. This is some creative and I
BS?
guess hyped up.
If it's BS, you can say it's BS, bro. It was just everywhere. It was everywhere. I figured it would be worth a mention.
This is so. I'll actually explain what this is. This is the 365-day moving average. That's all this is. So if you look at the tweet, if you look at the tweet, it's like at what point would you be in profit if you DCA'd in? So if you go to the comments, somebody asks about this.
Oh yeah, the daily DCA indicator. Yeah,
tracks
go
the
ahead.
profit loss of buyers who hypothetically bought a fixed dollar amount worth of Bitcoin daily for the past year, 365 days. So if you averaged in every day, your P&L, your zero, your break even level is essentially going to be at the 360-day moving average. Now, that moving average can be calculated ever so slightly different, depending if you're getting the average price for the day, the low for the day, the high for the day, the open, the close. But if you throw on the 365-day moving average, you see the Bitcoin just came up and tapped that level. And that's what this is essentially showing.
So it means nothing.
So I'm just thinking if it's a 1 year moving average or 365-day moving average, then essentially it would be something that if we had 3 cycles that happened 3 times before, right? And this is cycle 4.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
So I mean, I would assume you're going to get another one in the next cycle. And
Oh my God, the mother of all indicators has only happened 3 times when we've only had 3 market cycles.
and we also have the mother of all super chats. So big shout out to Crypto Billy. He says
He's been asking everyone this question, by the way. All the top people in crypto, he's been asking this question. And he asked me and I gave him the answer.
Oh.
He said, Forrest, if you had 10,000 to invest and you can only invest in one coin, what coin would you pick right now today? You can only pick one. And my pick was Aave.
Yeah,
that was my pick.
your pick was Aave. I don't think that's a bad pick.
Robin's was ETH.
yeah, I went ETH.
ETH?
On this.
It depends on your risk profile, but for me, it's Dust. Like most of my portfolio's in Dust right now. It's a low cap for the DGods ecosystem.
Okay.
I mean, look, that's. I'm not here trying to show my bags. It's just the honest truth. It's like if you ask me, like, where would you put the majority of your portfolio today? The answer is going to be the exact same answer of like where I actually have the majority of my portfolio
Fair
at the
enough.
moment. So. Kind of a
Practice what you preach.
kind of a higher risk play if you look at it in terms of the risk curve and low caps, but that's the answer.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I'm sure that wasn't on your bingo card, Crypto Billy. Forrest, let's get into some trust, my man. BTC went up to 25.2, and it's down. Are we getting ready to consolidate? What's the next move? And what are your thoughts about this last rally? We have Crypto Blood come on here this week and said it's the biggest suckers rally he's ever seen. Is this the beginning of a bull market or is this a bull trap? What are your thoughts?
Wait, he was saying this was the biggest bull trap?
Yeah, he was saying the biggest suckers rally. So he thinks we're going to make new
Okay.
lows.
Interesting.
don't
Interesting. I think it's unclear. We'll just jump into the charts. How about that?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, let's move over here. All right, so I've got the Bitcoin chart here. I threw on the 365-day moving average just so we could kind of see that, little indicator. We broke it here, right? Went on a huge rally. We dipped below it. Then once we broke it again, we had the bear market rally last market cycle. And then once we broke it once again to the top side, we had the last bull market. And now we're trying to break it right now. So that's kind of what that mother of all indicators would indicate. And I actually do think there, with a 365-day moving average, there's interesting stuff there because you start getting into the tax cycle. And like long-term capital gains and people needing to hold for over 365 days, and all of a sudden once they meet that 365-day threshold, you start getting into a point where you're a little more incentivized to take profits because you pay a lower tax rate. So I think there is potentially something there. Let's throw on our price bias levels real quick, and we just see that we have now held 25K as resistance twice. Now, I will say, after you get a big 10% candle like this, coming off of an existing rally, it's very, very likely that you see continuation. It's actually very hard to find examples where you get these huge candles coming off of a rally where you don't see some sort of continuation in the future. Now, of course, they do exist, but it's more common that you get these big candles in a continued rally to the upside. Of course, you get them also in these, big, bounces. But again, that's coming off of a bear market trend. We've trended sideways for quite some time now, and we've, started to reverse trend and break that bear market structure. So 25K is key resistance. Is this a sucker's rally? It's like, oh, okay. Like the question is, just because it depends on your time frame. Would you call this a sucker's rally? When it was 300% gain from the bottom for Bitcoin, it was actually like 350%. It's like if you were sidelined during this, you missed out on a lot of opportunity to make money. Like, was this a sucker's rally because price ended up coming back down below $5,000 and almost it tapped below $4,000? I wouldn't necessarily call it a sucker's rally. I just refer to it as what it is, a bear market rally. And that's exactly what I think we're in. I think we're in a bear market rally. I think there's a lot of consensus in the market right now that, and whether or not this manifests, that we could, it's unclear, but I think there's a lot of consensus that we could come up and tap 28K, which is, we're $4,000 away from 28K. Like, we are, even after shying away from some of this 25K resistance, I mean, we just put in a 10% candle in a day, and we are just a little hop away, an 18% pump away from 28K. So I don't know that I would refer to this as a sucker's rally. I think we're just in a bear market rally. Could this be the top? Certainly. This is a scenario that I outlined, I believe, on live stream and in my Discord, where let me actually go to the daily chart here because it becomes a little bit more clear. I was on the 3-day there. A bearish scenario that we outlined was this potential bearish divergence right into that 25K resistance. We want to be wary of that. So, could we run it back down? Certainly. My thesis for Bitcoin has probably been that we're going to run to retest at some point in the future, especially if we get recession. We'll probably retest these lows, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some continuation to 28 to 32K in the meantime.
Boris,
I do want to show you guys. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick before you move on, you did say you think this is a bear market rally, which implies we're still in a bear market. What do you need to see, whether it's on the charts or whatever? What do you need to see to be like, all right, we're in a bull market now?
Probably, yeah. Having in like new highs being set in like most cryptocurrencies. I actually think one of the things that is going to happen this cycle versus last cycle. Last cycle, let's actually do this in real time here. We'll throw on ETH USD. We'll go new price scale. And what you will see is that Bitcoin this cycle led. right? Bitcoin led, and off the bottoms here, and let me actually throw this to a logarithmic chart just to make it a little bit cleaner. I know orange is usually the Bitcoin color, but bear with me. Ethereum here is the color. And what you see is that Bitcoin ran before altcoins ran. And that's traditionally what we've seen in previous cycles. My prediction is that, you know, Bitcoin may start out leading in certain instances, especially off of a bottom. But going into next cycle, I think altcoins are going to lead. I think there's going to be, you know, I think there's going to be a lot of altcoins. Like by the time Bitcoin gets back to 60K, or, you know, back to its previous all-time high at $69,000, I find it hard to believe that there's not going to be other altcoins that haven't already breached and surpassed their all-time highs. It's like, you know, do you think Bitcoin's, you know, Bitcoin at 69K, where does that put stuff like, and maybe not some of the stuff that we've seen with 99% corrections, but it's like, where does that put stuff like, you know, AVAX, Atom? Like, can Atom get back to $45 before Bitcoin breaks 69? Because if Bitcoin's at 55K, it's hard to believe that Atom's not going to be above $45 with, you know, the way that the pace that they're building and the adoption they're getting. So something to keep in mind. So that's kind of what I would, you know, looking out for, like altcoins making new all-time highs, you know, with some level of consistency. That would be, you know, a signal that we're in a new bear market, or a bull market rather. I do want to invert here. I want to show you guys something that's pretty interesting. Yeah, we can stay on the weekly probably. We may have to go down to the 3-day to make it, you know, even more clear. Yeah, let's go down to the 3-day. So we're inverting the Bitcoin chart here. This helps kind of cut out some bias, you know, from time to time. And if you just draw, you know, your what are essentially downtrend lines, you very frequently see when this trend line is broken, that usually signals a rally. Now, remember, this was just a bear market rally over here, right? That wasn't an entire new bull market. That was Bitcoin going from 3K up to 14K. But once we broke this downtrend line, it was off to the races. And sometimes you get a test on the backside, and then, you know, you could probably draw this one like that and say, oh, COVID took us back down lower. But ultimately, once we did break back up above it, we ran up into the new bull market, and the lows were in. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to look at this objectively and say, hey, we're going back down to make new lows. I could absolutely see us, you know, coming up to you know, 30K, maybe even 35K, who knows? And then coming back and testing these, you know, this as a horizontal level. But it's hard for me to imagine that we're gonna, you know, go down to 10K without some sort of really big catalyst coming in. If FTX can't take us below 10K, it's like, who's gonna sell? Who are the sellers that are gonna come in and sell Bitcoin down to 10K that haven't already sold from FTX, that haven't already sold from US regulation, SEC regulation, who haven't already sold after, you know, Terra Luna collapse, Celsius, Voyager? It's like, who's left to sell this down to 10K? It's the same problem that you run into in a bull market. It's like everybody, by the time Bitcoin's at $60,000, I will kind of reinvert this. By the time Bitcoin's up at $60,000, it's like, who's left to buy that has not already bought? Like, crypto's been going on a run for over a year. Like, if you were going to invest in crypto, you've already done so. So it's like, who's left to sell to take this down to 10K? I struggle to answer that question.
You know,
I look at this objectively. Oh, go ahead.
To your point, we always talk about miners capitulating and selling. Now, with this whole Ordinals NFT on Bitcoin thing, fees have gone up. So not only are they getting block rewards, but they're getting more fees out of the blocks they're mining. So could that be another catalyst to Bitcoin? You know, what you're saying as far as selling pressure? Who's selling? If miners aren't selling because they're also making more money in transaction fees now, who is left to sell, right? So can one not argue that, hey, capitulation happened, we're in a bull market?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, when you ask the question of who is left to sell, the only really answer is forced sellers in some sort of liquidation event. Maybe Michael Saylor or somebody, but he seems to be pretty well off and fine right now, and can move his liquidation point lower. Or it's Bitcoin miners, and Bitcoin miners are benefiting right now from Bitcoin NFTs, Bitcoin ordinals. And you also have to take into account that is just Bitcoin, right? When you look at something like Ethereum or Matic or QNT and all these altcoins, it's like you ask the same question of Ethereum: who's left to sell ETH? Really, nobody, other than anybody who withdraws from the Shanghai fork from the staking contract. But I actually think that's going to have the opposite effect. There's like, if you haven't sold Ethereum yet already, like who's left to sell it? If you haven't sold Matic, right, who's going to sell Matic below 32 cents? Like, and make a new low for Matic? I just don't see it happening. So it's like, who's left to sell Solana? If you didn't sell Solana at $8, like, you're not selling. What's going to make you sell Solana? It's just like, you can go through the same question for all these altcoins, and it's like, for most of the solid altcoins out there, like Chainlink, the answer is, people who have, there's been a large transfer of coins from weak hands to strong hands. And I think that's why we are very, very likely in this bear market rally. And we could if we run up to 30K, yeah, we could see another transfer. People taking people taking profits, and then if the S&P 500 starts making new lows and crashes, yeah, that could send us right back down to these levels. But I think it's going to be tough to sell Bitcoin down to 10K. I think that's like equally as difficult. It was equally as difficult to send Bitcoin to 100K. And it's like, people love to have these targets and these extremes. And in reality, it's probably somewhere in between.
I agree. I think the lows are in for Bitcoin. But do I think we're in a bull market? I don't know. I think we're closer to getting into a bull market than a lot of people think. But that's just my personal opinion. Forrest, can we take a look, unless you had something else to show on Bitcoin, but can we take a look at Polygon? No. It's been ripping. Where is it going to stop?
Yeah, so it's funny, as you were saying, that you said the words like Polygon sell signal because of your shirt or something. As those words were coming out of your mouth, a small short order filled for me. So I'm very cautiously here. I don't love shorting into a trend like this. But we also have pretty confluent resistance, and I do think it's going to be difficult for Matic to sustain over $1.50 without some sort of a pullback. So maybe, and I'm not, I'm not on high leverage or anything, just a small position, lower leverage. And we've got 150 as our, not only kind of our structural impulse, right, move. That was the last resistance before this huge impulse down came in. All right, we have $1.50 as a psychological level. As soon as you tick up to 151, Matic starts, people in their minds psychologically start rounding up to $2, and it looks a lot more expensive. And we frequently see that. We frequently see that come in. We saw the same thing when it hit 50 cents for the first time. When it ticked up to 51, this looked like it was, never going to stop, and then it pulled all the way back. This looks like a small correction, but that was a 50% correction. We're on a logarithmic scale here, right? So I'm not saying we're going to get a 50% correction by any means, but I do think, maybe we pop up above 150, and all of a sudden that buying behavior starts to subside a little bit. We get into the thick of all of this prior resistance here. Maybe we get a little bit of a pullback back down to the trend line, and that's all I'm looking for as a trader here. Matic has just been crushing it on all levels. I think if you line up, what's performed the best since the summer lows here, I think Matic's at the top of the list. So we also have this margin pressure level coming in. We have our price bias levels. I'll get rid of those. $1.50 is going to be a resistance level. I think for, psychologically, I've kind of got that marked out. But then it's also the point at which you can no longer long Matic on 2x long leverage and hide that liquidation point below this last local low, right, at around 74 to 75 cents. And that's significant because we've actually not had a nice correction, right? We've not had a correction back down to give leverage traders confidence in a new support zone to start longing from. So we'll see how well this ages. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Matic just blasts straight through and starts testing some of these levels. That would be, honestly, I would love to see it. If I get liquidated on my short, it means crypto's pumping hard and we're benefiting in other areas. But there is some technical resistance here at $1.50, both with margin pressure levels and their psychological level. So I think we can get a little pullback here. Maybe it's not steep, but maybe we start consolidating in this region.
Okay, what about Filecoin? We saw Filecoin, I believe it's up about 40% today. Rob's been beating the drum on Filecoin for a while now. Well, what's Price telling us? Where's the next stop, and what kind of potential can we see out of Filecoin?
Yeah, Rob's been absolutely crushed the call here. This has been, and in hindsight, this was such an obvious buy zone. Oh, sorry,
he's patting himself on the back.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, absolutely crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. This was, in hindsight, from a technical perspective, just a really, really nice demand zone. Very obvious in hindsight. In real time, it looks like it's plummeting and it's very scary. But Filecoin at $2.50 was the psychological level where it starts looking really cheap. Bids came in, ended up, if we zoom in a little bit, we got some psychological support and resistance at $5 exactly, and now we're running into that same thing at $7.50. These even levels have been really, really solid in terms of support and resistance for Filecoin in the past. So I do think they're worthwhile taking a look at. Yes, you can get wicks above them, but ultimately it was difficult for Filecoin to sustain a price above $10, and then it came back down. So I would definitely be looking for some resistance where we're at right now after this huge pump. Don't be surprised if we see some consolidation under 750 or even maybe a correction back down to this prior support. If we just continue to run through $10, $10 is that kind of next big even level where it's like, all right, $11 Filecoin starts looking pretty expensive, versus $7 Filecoin, right? Single digit Filecoin. So keep that in mind. And again, I do realize how unsophisticated of an approach that looks like and sounds like, but there's a lot of research to back that. There really, really is. Right. Off of our swing low, 461, that $9.23 resistance comes in, which is less psychological like $10 was, but it is much more in line with our structural resistance. So if you're riding the waves on Filecoin right now and kind of in a shorter term trade looking for maybe some take profit levels, I don't think 750 is a bad place to take profits. I don't think 920 to 10 is a bad place to take profits. If you're looking at Filecoin as a longer term investment, obviously there's you're not really inclined to take profits at $7 to $10. You could certainly trim here. Nothing wrong with that from a long-term perspective and look to add back at lower levels. Let's throw on the easy bands and just see okay, we're starting to get a little bit overbought here. We know that in a bear market rally, altcoins can stay in this zone for a little while and maybe even start trending upwards through this zone. But we have, 930 is the kind of the top of our easy bands. So, we start getting to $9 to $10. It's time to probably start trimming. Doesn't mean you got to sell the entire position, 5-10% off the table, making sure you got some cash just in case we do go back to we get another mean reversion, just in case we do go back to the lows here. Taking 5% off the table is not a bad idea at those levels. Even for a long-term position. But yeah, Filecoin looking really solid. And it's nice to see it's also kind of just a narrative. It's creating a narrative around storage. We see Arweave pumping up 16-17%. And we also see, if I can find it, Storage or Storj up 15%. So this decentralized storage narrative really starting to run here.
And I know a couple people in the chat were intrigued by your Dust answer still, and they're wondering what the ticker is. Billy had or Crypto Billy has thrown some super chats asking what the ticker is. But would you be able to do you have a chart on Dust? Is there something going on in the chart that makes you kind of bullish on that at the moment? Is there decent liquidity?
Yeah. Yeah. So look, here's the thing with Dust. It's a fundamental play. It is a low cap. You look at the fully diluted valuation, it is 63 million, right? So there's risk here. Second of all, I don't want to, pump my bag, so to speak, like, oh, everybody pile into this low cap and I'm going to sell higher. That's not what this is about. I have significantly higher targets for Dust, and it's more of a fundamental play. The chart actually looks like we may be back testing $2 resistance on this trend line, and we could probably get a pullback here. We'll see. Next week, Dust emissions end, so there's only 33 million max supply. And that is running at a run rate of about 35% inflation right now. Those staking rewards are given to DeGods holders. DeGods and y00ts are the top two NFT projects on Solana. They are moving to Ethereum and Polygon, respectively. The Polygon team, Sandeep Nailwal, he's the CEO of Polygon, and the CEO of Polygon Studios, Ryan Wyatt, are using y00ts as their profile picture. They just gave a $3 million grant to the D Labs team, which is the founders of y00ts and DeGods, to move y00ts over to Polygon. It was an equity-free grant, free and clear. They gave them $3 million to do that. So the Polygon team, you guys, I'm a big fan of Matic, super big fan of Matic, and they are pressing hard to bring NFTs and the NFT ecosystem over to Polygon, and they're looking at this team to be the leaders in that space for them. They're going to start a launch pad over there. I wrote a 24-page research report for Sistine Research subscribers on DeGods, y00ts, and Dust. So this is a well-researched position. This week, there's the emissions are ending in about 4 to 5 days. And with those emissions ending, they're going to be, the other thing, they took 535 DeGods that were previously burned, and they resurrected them on the Bitcoin Ordinals NFT chain, all in one block. It's the first project to ever mine or inscribe an entire collection into one block, and those are going to be auctioned off, and we can only speculate that they're probably going to be auctioned off or distributed with Dust, and you can start to see that speculation has been coming in since that announcement, since those tweets that were came out right there.
That would make sense. I know that would make sense because we know what Bored Apes did with the Ape Coin. Once they started allowing the Bored Apes and their, the Bored Ape Kennel Club and the Mutant Apes to be bought with the Ape Coin, it just absolutely skyrocketed. Now, here's my question, Forrest. With those two projects moving over from Solana to Matic and I believe Ethereum, will the Dust protocol token also bridge over from Solana to either Ethereum or Polygon?
Yeah, it's going to be bridged over to Ethereum and probably Matic as well. I would imagine QuickSwap is the big DEX over there, but it's going to be bridged over to Uniswap. And when you have a token right now that basically only has liquidity on it has one liquidity pool. If we go here to CoinGecko, we can check out Dust Protocol. And if we go down to where it's actually listed, we see the only place that it has any liquidity whatsoever, and it doesn't have much, is $15,000 to move the price up 2% or up or down. Is not a super liquid coin. So keep that in mind, which can be seen as a benefit or a risk. But you look at this is only available through one Solana DEX, and that's Orca, right? When this gets listed on Uniswap, the availability of this token goes up considerably. And when they migrate over in a month or two, I would expect that to be, positive for the price of Dust. So this is, it's a very niche play. It's a low cap play. But it kind of reminds me of Gains Network. Gains Network, when I first started talking about GNS, Gains Network, it was $1.50. That was my entry point for GNS. You look at GNS today, they just got a listing on Binance. That's Dust. Gains Network here. They spiked up to $13, sitting at $10 right now. And, we're talking about this at $1.50. Because this narrative was starting to come alive and they were gaining traction. So it is kind of just reminiscent of Gains Network. For me, I think this is very early on for Dust, and there's not a lot of availability. But once this becomes more available and it gets exchange listings and there's a narrative built around it, I think there's potential upside. DYOR, do your own research. I'm not here to show my bags. Full transparency. I said earlier, it's my largest position, but it's that way for a reason. I'm not here to tell people, what to invest in. I can only just share my perspective.
Yeah, and it's a conundrum when you're on a platform like YouTube is you want to share your information and what you have and how you're investing with people, but then on the back end, people either say you're shilling your bags, or if you don't say anything, and because you don't want to feel like you're shilling your bags, people are like, well, why don't you tell us? So it's just information, guys. Take with it, do with it as you please. So, Robin, is there any other charts we should look at, or should we move on?
I don't have anything. But
Boris, you got anything else before we move on to some other news?
We can move on to other news. I think you mentioned something earlier about Dogecoin, but honestly, it's like not that exciting. So I'm happy to move on to other news unless you really want to take a peek at Doge.
The whole thing with Doge was, it's out of the top 10. And I'm curious, Forrest, what are your thoughts on an exchange token, OKB, right? The exchange token of OKX, which essentially has no utility. All it does is low transaction fees on the network. That is in the top 10. Where did it go? It was in the top 10. Is that concerning to you? We saw what happened with FTX and FTT. We
OKB
understand.
is in number 22 on the CoinMarketCap list.
I believe on CoinGecko, it's listed. I believe CoinGecko
number
has
8.
it as, yeah. CoinGecko has it, number 8 above Polygon. Is this concerning to you? Because we saw what happened with FTT, artificially inflating the price, using that to borrow real money from investors. And then when all in all, majority of the tokens are being held by the exchange.
So there's more market cap in OKB than Polygon, Doge, Polkadot, Shiba Inu, Litecoin. I find that hard to believe, man.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Forrest? Is that a concerning to you?
Yeah, it's like I just stay away from it. Look, at the end of the day, like I don't think Doge and SHIB should ever be in the top 20 either. They are. I think this market is still, at the end of the day, it's still pretty early. The market's still pretty immature. With that regards, I don't like investing in any exchange token whatsoever unless they're giving a direct kickback in revenue. And that's what drew me into Gains Network. That's why GMX is so big. They give those kickbacks in revenue, which may make them in a security in regards to the U.S. laws, but at the same time, they're not located in the United States. They don't operate out of the United States. So for me, it's like if I'm going to invest in an exchange, I want a dividend. I want part of their revenue. I want their revenue going back to me as a holder and a staker. So if they're not doing that, I just have very, very little interest in partaking in something that could be manipulated and very risky. So. I think it just makes it easy to stay away from.
Do you kind of share the same sentiment, Rob?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of exchange tokens. I think Binance did a pretty good job as far as utility. They did solve issues with transactions and throughput and being able to have DEXs not charged. It was pennies to create a new project. You could get exposure to crypto. You could launch your own token. And obviously, we've seen that exploited to death. But it did give people an opportunity to interact and create something at a affordable rate compared to what was on Ethereum at the time. Now that Ethereum is caught up, now that Ethereum's more scalable and been essentially upgraded or improved, and there's not quite as much transactions, there's also other DEXs on other chains that are facilitating some of the needs that the BNB token was doing. So there was a case for it at the time. But moving forward, do we need BNB token? I don't think so.
Wow.
I really don't. I think it provides more of a conflict of interest. It provides more opportunity for Binance themselves to take advantage of their own token. And I know they are deflationary. But at this point, I'm starting to question the motives of exchanges and the people that we hail as heroes and saviors of our industry, especially when these are billionaires that have made their fortunes off of the individuals that are investing in them. And so I don't know who's good and I don't know who's bad anymore, man.
Speaking of bad.
And when you have that temptation of having your own token, we've seen just through history that it's not good, man.
It's a way to print fake money.
Yeah.
You're printing fake money.
Now everything is transparent with BNB, and we haven't seen anything of,
Right.
of printing and trying to raise the value of your company. So we haven't seen it, but I still think it's a conflict of interest that I would rather not exchange. I would rather exchanges not have that privy to them, and I'd rather them focus on trading services versus printing money. So.
Amen. You know who we can all agree is a bad person? It's Sam Bankman-Fried. And we got double good news regarding Sam. The first is FTX Japan is planning on resuming their withdrawals as early as February. Now, this is FTX Japan, guys, not FTX US, not FTX International. Bankrupt crypto exchange FTX Japan reporting plans to resume withdrawals for affected users as early as February. So this month, they send out notifications asking users to verify their account balances as part of the process to begin withdrawals. Seth Melamed, the COO of the exchange, reportedly said users could transfer assets to accounts on the FTX-owned Liquid Global platform, with withdrawals expected very soon. Also, some other good news. FTX's Sam Bankman-Fried could have his bail revoked and go back to Yale. Straight to jail. So this is also sourced from Cointelegraph. So this has been kind of a funny saga to... So there was news he used a VPN. He was shunned by the judge, but he said, hey, I was trying to watch the Super Bowl. Just trying to watch Super Bowl. So Sam could conceivably have his bail revoked after a federal judge said there was probable cause to believe the former CEO may have engaged in attempted witness tampering. I remember this goes back to the emails he was sending to Ryan Salami and all the other people. Kaplan suggested that this could conceivably see the FTX founders sent back to jail until his trial in October. The judge said, why am I being asked to turn him loose in this garden of electronic devices, said Judge Kaplan. And so some good news. I don't know, this whole FTX Japan thing, obviously it's good. Withdrawals are opening up. People are going to get their money back. Not sure how many of our viewers have money on FTX Japan, but just some news. But as far as the bail being revoked, and we haven't gotten a chance to ask Forrest's opinion, but the two guarantors were revealed, right? It was they're both Stanford professors, or they have Stanford ties. What are your thoughts on that? And one of the guys who donated or put up the $500K said, I only did it because Sam's family was there for me when I had cancer, and I'm just returning the favor. Do you draw a line somewhere? Maybe the line where, person is the biggest fraud in American history? Or what are your thoughts on just that whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, so a couple things. I mean, look, we all want to see this guy behind bars. It's very, very obvious and apparent. I had seen some things posted, some screenshots that he was going around and maybe trying to bribe witnesses and stuff. And at the end of the day, it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Or he was, trying to reach out to witnesses and potential witnesses. So, hopefully he gets his bail revoked. I think the judge's comment about, why am I allowing this guy outside of, or being asked to leave him outside of bars in this sea of electronic devices? I mean, it's not that hard for him. He could easily be trading crypto right now. In fact, I'd be kind of surprised if he wasn't. So long as he has private keys, a VPN, and he can, throw some crypto on an exchange, he's got access to funds. He's probably trading crypto. There's no telling what else he's doing and what else he has access to. It's not that difficult to become anonymous on the internet. And if he's got a burner cell phone, with the apps nowadays, you can he's got access to, he's living a normal life. I don't think that he's got a ton of restrictions other than, obviously where he can go physically. But, as we get more towards a electronic, world and metaverse, if you will. I mean, this dude wasn't going places physically when he was in the Bahamas. Obviously he made some trips to the US and was talking to regulators and stuff, but I mean, he was operating out of, he was sleeping in the office. He was, as long as he's got access to a computer and an internet connection, he's, got the same ability to operate that he did before. Obviously he's not the CEO of a crypto exchange right now, but it kind of baffles me that he's under house arrest right now and able to operate kind of as normal. It's kind of baffling. So hopefully he'll be put back behind bars sooner than later.
I draw a parallel. I think that at your core, if this is who you are, you're someone full of fraud and deception and stealing and a thief. Just because you get caught, you don't all of a sudden change your ways. You're not like, you know what, I got caught, I was wrong, and I was stupid. Like we've seen it before. You ever seen that Fyre Fest documentary?
Yeah.
And so that guy that organized the Fyre Fest,
that was terrible.
He got out on bail and was on the phone like generating capital with some other scheme or another marketing ploy. Like while he was out on bail. And the thing is like, I wasn't, nobody was surprised. And yet here we are having the same conversation with someone that's out on bail, a known fraud.
The guy literally was reaching out to witnesses that are working with the U.S. federal government. Yeah. And if that's not grounds to revoke your bail, I don't know what is.
What he did. He was working with politicians trying to bribe them. He was working with regulators trying to get into their pockets. He was donating. This is who he is at his core. And so not surprised in the slightest. And also big shout out to Debate Crypto. Keepers up in here saying what's up. He's back from Brazil. My boy went to Brazil where they speak Portuguese. How you doing?
Yeah, we know you speak Portuguese.
Yeah, I do speak Portuguese.
I want to know what the chat thinks. Chat, do you guys think Sam's bail should be revoked? Put a 1. If you think he hasn't done anything for it to be revoked, put a 2. 1, it should be revoked. 2, it should not. I better see some 1s. All right, let's play a game. I want to play a game of whose portfolio would you pick? So we have, what are the biggest crypto VCs betting on in 2023? And we have a list of the top VCs portfolios. So let's start. Jump Crypto, okay? They are Forrest, you did a really good job of explaining Jump Crypto. I know they're kind of like Wintermute, right? They're market makers. Give us a quick insight into Jump Crypto.
Sorry, you cut out there. You're asking for just a brief synopsis on Jump Crypto?
Yeah, I know they're a market maker, kind of like Wintermute, but you did a really good job.
They're also like big into they're market maker for both centralized and decentralized. And I believe they have a lot of money on Uniswap and liquidity pools. They also have like a trading arm called Jump Trading that is both, I believe, an investment fund as well as like a trading desk as well. So. I mean, they are like the biggest players in the space, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know like exact numbers in terms of assets under management, but they are like big time.
They're top. So here's what their portfolio is: 2.8 billion in ETH. So a combined wrapped ETH and ETH, you're looking at over $3 billion, 58 million in SHIB, which this says WTF. And then 30.6 million wrapped Bitcoin.
Making that SHIB with Robinhood, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, because Jump also facilitates and works with Robinhood as well. And then Matic, 25.2 million. Other smaller tokens include Synthetics, Compound, Lido, Aave, Chiliz, DYDX, and a little bit of Phantom. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, wow, this is great, 1 being, this is crap, what score would you give this portfolio for Jump Crypto?
I mean, they've got a pretty good track record. Would I have the Shiba Inu? No, but if I was making bank, market making it for Robinhood, then it makes a lot of sense for them. So they don't operate under the same, the same stuff, the same ecosystem that an individual. Would I recommend this for a retail investor? No, but for them, yeah, it looks great.
So I need a number. Bro. Is this a 7? Is it a 10?
This is an 8. This is a solid 8. I mean, I like the
Solid
Matic.
8.
I like the ETH. The Shiba makes sense for them because they're market making it. This is all fine. I mean, this is straight up ETH pretty much.
I'm gonna give this a 7. What's your vote, Robin? We know you don't like the
lot of
shit.
ETH and SHIB and wrap Bitcoin. You know, I think it's I think that's exactly what you'd want in a portfolio, right? Maybe you'd want Bitcoin at the top, but I think
Yeah.
ETH looks like it's going to outperform Bitcoin. So yeah, I'd actually give it a 9, man. I'm a
9?
big ETH guy,
Hold on,
man.
bro.
That's the
They got more
strongest
shit
position.
than Bitcoin, and you're giving him a 9.
I'm going off of number 1 and number 2. Look, $2.8 billion in ETH. They got some ETH.
Over 3 billion.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, just off of regular
Actually,
ETH,
no.
and then if you take the wrap ETH, it's still
math is off.
basically they're right at $3 billion. I mean, that is a monster position. I mean, ETH's market cap is 200 billion. So I mean, they're
1%.
they're over 1%. So they have, and ETH is the future, bro. Right? Ain't nobody gonna knock ETH off, at least not in the next bull run. So maybe they can realign their positions and move their profits into smaller projects in the next bull run. But
Also,
or you can just ride that thing out. I mean, ETH is
if you're guys, chat, I want you to play along. Rate this portfolio. Also, Rocco, give us a number. What number would you put on that portfolio?
Six.
Roccolini.
Rocco said 6.
I was 6. Bro.
Solid. I like that, Rocco. I agree. All right, let's move on. Next up, we have Wintermute. Okay. So here's how Wintermute breaks down: 351 million in ETH, 24.7 million in Lido, 7.4 million in DYDX, 6 million Gala, 5.7 HFT, Matic, Blur, and Phantom. Also, Forrest, what number, what rating are you giving this wallet?
Yeah, I mean, if we broke it down by percentages again, it's like 90+% ETH, or like, Lido's obviously an ETH based play. I even might backtrack on the one before, just $2.8 billion of ETH. It's hard not to give that a 10. So I give this one.
Okay.
The bonus.
You guys are some ETH maxis, bro.
Imagine it's $2.8 billion in ETH is just wild. And that's like, that's
what a
insane.
bunch of
So
maxis
this
you
is
guys
predominantly
are.
ETH as well. I give this an 8 or 9. You give this an
8 or 9. I like this one. I think this one's a little more diversified. I don't see any BTC. I'll give this one a 7. Rob, what's your number?
Yeah, I like 7.
7?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the DYDX. I know it's a derivatives exchange. Gala, that's a small position, but whatever. 6 million.
More
that's good.
Gala than Matic. Interesting.
Lido's an interesting play.
You'll see, and you'll see the trend here as I
Yeah.
keep going. There's 3 more portfolios you're gonna take.
Yeah,
a look at.
you know what? Always pay attention to what the smart money is, or the big money, the whales. These are essentially the biggest whales in the industry. Like, what are they doing? Because they're putting they're keeping a close eye on these guys. Yeah.
All right, chat. What do you think about
Also
Wintermute's
important to-
portfolio? Rank it. Put a number. Go ahead. Forrest. Did you have anything to add, Forrest? I feel like I kind of cut you off there for a second.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna say. Also, keep in mind, like, some of these positions for these big funds, like they probably didn't pay 50 cents for Gala. They probably got it for pennies on the dollar. From some early investments. So that's just important to keep in mind for people. They're not playing the same game that we're playing. They kind of have certain advantages.
Definitely Definitely not. All right. Next up, we have Paradigm Capital. So 191 million in Lido, 163 million in ETH, and 19 million in MakerDAO. So this is an all ETH portfolio. What are you ranking this one, Forrest?
You give this one a 6. And that's because it's not that I don't like Lido. I think liquid staking derivatives are having their moment in time, and they've obviously performed extraordinarily well. I would imagine that's why that Lido position has grown to be so large, because Lido just skyrocketed. So I won't hold that against them too much. I just don't fully grasp the value accrual mechanism for Lido. Like obviously they're executing liquid staking derivatives, but the way that you earn money through holding Lido is a little bit less clear. It seems like it's just more governance based advantages. So I would prefer to see a little bit more in ETH than Lido. So I give it a 6. I don't hate it.
Rob?
I'm gonna give it a 4. There's no diversification here.
0, I agree.
I think that
it's a good DeFi portfolio.
Yeah, I would like to see some Bitcoin in there, perhaps some kind of
like why Maker and why not some like Aave?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that's where I was going to get at. Like why not have some decentralized finance in there? But I mean, there is kind of, but it's all in the same ecosystem. So
I'm gonna give it a 3. So 3, 4, and Forrest, you said 5, right? 6?
You said 6.
I said 6.
Yeah. Rocco, what's your vote?
Yeah, it's probably going to be a 5.
5?
I know a portfolio with only 3 options is not
an all-in-one ecosystem.
Yeah, it doesn't qualify as a portfolio.
Chat, make sure you're playing along as well. Looks like a lot of people do not like this portfolio. Frank the Tank said 6. All right, let's move on. From Paradigm to Defiance Capital. So again, Lido, 19.2 million, 15 million in stablecoin, 3.2 million in Aave, and 2.7 million in ETH. Are you guys seeing a trend here?
Yeah, Lido, ETH, bro.
ETH. What number are you giving this portfolio? Robin, I'm gonna start with you first this time.
I'm gonna give it a 2, man. I'm not liking it, man. They're going all in on Lido. Obviously, like what Forrest said earlier, this position probably grew because of exposure at a cheaper price. USDC, they got cash on the sidelines. I feel like
what does that say?
That's wasted at the moment.
Maybe they think we're gonna see lower lows. I don't know.
Possibly, but I mean that's such a big chunk. It's almost 50%, man. It's like, what are you waiting for? You're venture capital. Like at this point, like you're supposed to be making moves. We're not talking about mom and dad over here with their savings and investment portfolio. We're talking about a company that you're supposed to be generating revenue. That is your business model. You were supposed to be investing, and you got cash on the sidelines at the bottom of a bear market.
Okay,
at least that big ass chunk, and then ETH is only $2 million. Like scoop up some ETH, man.
I'm gonna give this a 4. Give it a 4. Forrest, what's your number?
Yeah, I'll give it a 4. It's just this is making me feel more and more like there's something that I'm missing on Lido. I don't know if they have access to information that may be not public, or there's something in Lido's roadmap.
They probably do.
That it's going to. Yeah, it's just like seeing all these heavy Lido positions, even larger than ETH positions, is kind of. Weird. Kind of not concerning, but it's definitely strange and not what I would have necessarily expected. So I think there's probably something behind the scenes going on with Lido that we may not know about. But otherwise, 4 as ETH is kind of low down there, and heavy on USDC, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but just very heavy on Lido above all else. This is a little bit strange.
If you take the stable coins out, that's looks like about 75% of the
80%.
portfolio is in Lido. So Rocco, what's your what? How are you rating this portfolio? You're muted, my friend.
Probably 4. I agree
4?
with Forrest. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I will never do a portfolio like that.
Yeah, Lido, just in case you're wondering, ranked number 29 in the CoinMarketCap list at $3. All-time high was 6. It's only been out since 2021. So, take it for what you are. Yeah, I don't know. So,
and then finally, we have Amber Group leading the way with ETH, 129 million, 57 million in stablecoin, 21 million in Fetch AI, and then 8.3 million in DYDX. I am going to give this one. Let me give this one a 7. ETH, yes, they got some stable coins on the sideline, okay, and then they're kind of diversified. Looks like they've labeled Fetch as their go-to AI project in the space. And so, I'm kind of digging this one. Forrest, well, what are you ranking this one?
Yeah, I'd give this a 7. I think they might be, given right now, there's probably a good balance of stablecoins in there. Love to see ETH, over $100 million of ETH. That's just wild. Fetch, I would imagine they've probably made a lot of money off of that play with the AI narrative really popping off recently. So I imagine that exposure has just kind of overtaken naturally. DYDX, again, it's just, I think it's going to be difficult for DYDX to return, being based in the US, return yield to their users in the same way that GMX and Gains Network does. So it's just like, I'm just not the biggest fan of exchanges that are unable to return those fees back to their users. It's just like, why own DYDX versus Gains Network or GMX? It's like, I earn more money, I earn fees if I hold the latter. So, but they were probably early investors, I'd imagine.
Right.
I give it a, what did I say, 7? I think 7 is fine. 6
I'm
or
7 or 7. Robin?
I say 8. I actually,
okay.
I like this portfolio.
Okay.
Very strong position on ETH. You got capital on the side for whatever, whether the market does go down. It's a good amount of stable coin. They got a heavy investment in AI, which is booming. And then, there is a void that's been void in the exchange markets left by the collapse of FTX with derivatives exchange. So I think that's a good play there as well. So I like it, diversified and not too diversified, and not too many eggs in one basket, and smaller plays, and you got most of your money tied up in ETH. So
Rocco, what's your number?
Probably a 6, and I would have probably take the DYDX and switch with something more like Metaverse or even a Gala.
Yeah, we didn't see any Metaverse plays in any of the portfolios, right? No Metaverse plays, no really layer 2 plays. Obviously, ETH was the theme of these portfolios. And so something interesting to take a look at. And so, that was pretty cool. I enjoyed doing that. So, guys, we're going to let our friend Forrest go. Forrest, before we let you go, is there anything that you would like to let us know about?
No, I think we covered it. It looks like, guys, the market is screaming here. Matic up to $1.51.5, just punishing me for being even the slightest bit bearish. I'll actually be pleased if the market keeps running. This is great. I think we're in a bear market rally. Remember to take profits, be smart out there. And the number one thing I'd say is you're going to see a lot of stuff just doing multiples. Like already we're seeing, Filecoin, Matic. If you're sidelined, now's not the time to FOMO in. Now's the time to reset and strategize for, all right, how do we get into the next pump? How do we take advantage of the next opportunity? Strategize for the future. Don't, live in the moment emotionally and make bad decisions here. So I do think we very likely continue higher, like I've been saying. And so far we have, but just regulate your emotions, make smart decisions. Don't feel the need. It's okay to miss out on some pumps. It really is. There will always be another pump. There really, really will.
Amen to that, man. That's some great advice. Guys, go support Forrest. Go follow him on Twitter at 0xstacker. Also, go subscribe to his YouTube channel, Sistine Research. Forrest, we appreciate you as always, my friend. Have an amazing weekend, and we will see you on Monday.
Sounds good. See you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Take care, brother. Of course.
Peace.
All right. Guys, we're done. But before we leave, look at these gains, bro. Filecoin, $7.50, up 26% over the last day. ICP, $7.41, up 20%. Flow, $1.32, up 12.5%. Guys, are we out of the bear market? Who knows? But guess what? You guys have been around. You were here for the lows when 3AC and Luna crashed, and Celsius and Voyager and FTX. You guys stuck it out. You're still here, and you're starting to reap some of the benefits. This is only just the beginning, guys. This is only just the beginning. Robin, you got anything to add before we let our friends?
We do have some new people here. Hopefully you're still around. Now, if you're new in the chat, say hello before we leave. We can say goodbye or adios. Now, some of the new people, we got Philip to the moon. We got Jackie Tucker. We got Annie the Great. We got Dizzy like MF, Mr. Kennedy, DD, Robert Hanseman, and Cryptoholic Love 35. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Welcome and goodbye. Guys, make sure to check out all of our social medias. We're active on Twitter at Sin City Crypto 1. Also,
have you watched our AI video we put up yesterday? If you haven't, go check it out.
Go watch AI video, please.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
we got our bold broadcasting as well.
We do.
Yeah.
And all the descriptions or the links are in the description of this video. Go join our community ran Discord. Also, buy some merch for you, for your lady, or if you're a lady, for your guy, or whatever. With that being said, Rocco. Friends, family, friends, and family friends, we thank you so much for ending your week with us. It's been absolutely amazing. If you thought this week was great, next week is going to be even better. On behalf of myself, Robin, Rocco, we love you guys. Until Monday.
You guys.